talking about than other sports, and even different than in the NBA, where you lose a heartbreaking game in the NBA, you still have a couple of days before you get back on the floor and you're able to generally right that wrong. Brewers had given a couple away with the Yankees series that you got to see. The game, as Armin and I sat through and tried to figure out what the heck happened with a catcher's interference, ended up being a batter's interference that ends up losing you a 1-0 game against the Tampa Bay Rays. You steal one last night out of the jaws of defeat, where you snag one on your final at bat, your final out. You can take a couple of those, right? Like they always say that you're going to win 54, lose 54, and how you do in that last 54 is going to be what determines your season. The Brewers ended up stealing one last night, and Willy Adames, who Armin Sarian talking earlier before the show, maybe needs a little bit more respect from Brewers fans, gives them the biggest moment, and that Royals fan sitting right next to the dugout, the biggest moment of his night.
Yeah, not only a celebrity here for what he did last night in the state of Wisconsin, but down there in Kansas City to be able to, make somebody's night, make my damn night. That's what he did with that 3-run shot. And I fully expect the Brewers now to win 3 in a row because, going back to the Pirates series, they won 3 in a row, then they lost 3 in a row, then they won 3 in a row, then they lost 3 in a row. Now they're starting this new streak of 3 in a row again. Here in May, one of those barometers, you get to May 1st, you kind of feel where you're at, and then you try and slog through May. And right now it's been a little bit of rough sledding, a little ups, a little downs. But man, is there anything more exciting than a 9th inning home run? Like a 9th inning home run is there. A 9th inning home run, a buzzer beater in basketball. I'd say a game-winning field goal, but it's more about that 2-minute drive than it is the field goal. Yeah. So like a singular play, a singular swing, a singular shot, man. I don't know. 9th inning home runs are the ish. I mean, they are the best thing out there. And because, quite frankly, I feel like we see more game-winning shots than what we do 9th inning home runs.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And you also walk into the game-winning shot a little bit differently, right? Like, Armin, maybe it's just because unless Mike Malone, like he did a couple of times in that Lakers-Nuggets series where he just lets them play, generally there's a timeout, you build up to the moment. John's exactly right. You'd think game-winning field goal in the NFL, but you're more thinking about picking up that key 3rd down right around midfield to extend the drive to get into range. It is more of the story. And I mean, damn, there's usually somebody on the staff that's always flying the flag that we should be talking more NHL. That I guess the most likely scenario or the easiest one would be a game-winning goal in hockey, but sometimes you got to wait 5 hours for one of those overtime games to end in the NHL. By that time, I'm asleep. So luckily, with the pitch clock in baseball, the game-winning home run in the 9th inning can be 2 hour and 40-minute mark. That's a much easier window to be able to digest.
It was just awesome because obviously it's hitting a home run in baseball is obviously less common than hitting a buzzer beater shot or just hitting a shot in basketball. So when you're down 1, down 2, or tied in a basketball situation, there's a good chance you can make the shot, right? I don't think many people, even the most optimistic of us in the world, were thinking going into that 9th inning that the Brewers were going to come back and win. It just didn't seem like it was going to happen. The way that they had lost the lead again, down 5-3, the Royals had kind of reestablished that insurance run. Then there's 2 outs, and it's that little pipe dream. Well, if we get 2 on and get a bloop and a blast, and you just hope against hope that it actually happens. So when it does, and you get a complete rescue home run to rescue the night from Willie, it's kind of like it's a euphoric feeling because it felt so unbelievable that you could actually get 2 on and get a home run to go ahead and win the game. And then you're saying they're thinking, great, now who are we going to put in for the 9th? And McGill goes in and does it. So it was much needed for this Brewers team, right? After losing the last 2 in Chicago, and then the way they lost the opener in Kansas City, it was quite an exciting feeling. Like you said, John, it was quite exhilarating for this team. A shot in the arm, and you're like, wow, we really needed that. And the energy Willie had coming around the bases, man, we were all fired up. I think about that one as the storms were coming down. It was kind of the same moment. You mentioned it. Here's the audio of Willie talking to Sophia after the game on the Bally's broadcast about the banter he had right before the home run with some fans sitting close to the field. How about, I mean, how cool is that?
Dude, that's awesome.
Just talking to fans right there, and the friendly banter is what I love. This wasn't
Well,
the Patrick Beverly type banter,
well,
right?
but you know how many times we've been to games sitting behind the dugout.
Sure.
I know I've done it from time to time, and you'll yell at the first base coach or the third base coach, and then he'll start acknowledging you. And
Yeah.
then, if you get the ones down to the the side closest to home plate, right behind the dugout, you can get close to the batter's box and you can talk to the batters while they're in there. So yeah, this was some great chatter going throughout the game, and I imagine this happens a lot, quite frequently in baseball, where guys will chat it up and they'll say so the fan said, go hit a 3-run home run. He goes, I got you. Right. That's what Willie Adames says. I imagine that happens quite frequently at a major league ballpark. I imagine you don't necessarily hit the home run all that often after you say, I got you. But when you do, that time you do, you better come over and you better cash those receipts. And credit to the fans for being cool about that. And like, oh my gosh, you got it. Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know how many games they've been to and sat in those exact same seats and had other people say, I got you, but they got that one time and Willie Adames got it. And then he came back and the rest is history. So cool night last night.
Yeah, they got their one shining moment. John, the called shot is always great. We hear about Babe Ruth. I don't know how many different times he pointed to the center field bleachers, Harmon. Well, right? Like, I don't know if maybe
in 1932, that was the 32
that
World Series.
His pre-bat routine where, he hit the plate, pointed out to center field, but it doesn't sound nearly as good if nobody retells the story like Pat Murphy, where he's talking to the Kansas City fans during Gary's at bat. He's telling them one more ball. And then he goes back at them and goes, here we go. It's about to be over.
And the fact that it was friendly banter, I think that's the funniest part. That's the coolest part of it. It's just these guys are joking around, and Willie's a fun guy, and he always has fun at the ballpark, and he's willing to engage fans like that and say something like that. And, it's not bad. It's not anything, it's no shade or beef, right? It's not like he's trying to heckle.
Well, it's also not Kramer saying, hey, you got to hit two.
You got to hit two, right?
For the kid.
It was just as good. It was a triple and an error. It was just as good. They're charging that a triple and a throwing error. Paul O'Neill. That was a great episode, John. I'm glad you brought that up. Way to go, Willie. I love this guy. I think he's a guy that's still underrated by Brewers fans, by the way. Maybe we'll have time to get into it. I know we have Matt this hour. Yeah. I think he's still underrated by Brewers fans, and it would behoove the Brewers to try and keep him around. I know there's a lot of contract, a lot of money, what's going to happen because he's a free agent. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. I kind of wish they signed an extension already, but they didn't. So
and I think Willie Adames wishes that they would have signed a contract extension maybe before last year, where he struggled as much. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the program. You mentioned it. Matt Schneidman's going to join us a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes away from Matt Schneidman's rookie mini camp roundup report, and letting us know what the heck they're actually doing here in this portion of the offseason strength and conditioning phase. Not OTAs. That's at the end of the month. But sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I had that right, because I got a long list of the emails of all the different parts of the phases that we have to get right. We have to hit those marketing checkpoints, because apparently the NFL missed one of their marketing checkpoints, fellas. Apparently they're a little late on the assignment. They got an extension from the professor, but do they deserve any extra credit for it with their schedule release? We'll mention that coming up as well. It's 9 to noon. John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian with all of you on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line 414-799-1973 on the game.
Oh, I love that
Saved
one.
somewhere in the Armin Sarian archive, that clip and 400 other ones as well, just waiting
Some
at
Seinfeld clips.
any moment to get busted on out here on 9 to Noon for a Seinfeldism.
You know, the funny part is it doesn't matter all the little clips that he's got hidden there. He needs to be reminded of them. Like he's got,
There's
it's
so many
like
good ones.
It's
That
like
is
my
true,
closet, Billy. It's no lie. It's like my closet of artifacts that I have from 13 years in the NFL. Right?
Sure. Yep.
I don't even know what the hell's in there. Lindsay wants me to throw it all away. And every year there's one day where I got to go in there and I got to start showing her some things. And I'm like, oh man, I had a touchdown ball against 49ers in 2013. Look at this ball. You want me to throw this ball away? I completely forgot that ball was in there. Put that ball back down there. I'll forget it for another year. It'll stay in there.
Yeah,
that's
but-
the way
but-
Armin. That's the way Armin is with clips. He's got beautiful drops of you, me, Red Hot Tim Scott. He's got 1,000 drops of Butchie saying stuff, and he's got Seinfeld references out the wazoo. But you got to remind him to play them.
Yeah, it's true. It's like having those old boxes in your garage and you empty them out and you're like, oh, one day you empty them all out. And you're like, look at all the old stuff I have. There's something to that. No doubt about it. So yeah, no, I have to remember to take the stuff out and spread them out all the time. So
Let's
then
play
you
a
can,
game. Let's play a game real quick. What's the
Okay.
best? What's your just pick a drop,
we're
any
talking.
drop. Don't even look.
Yep.
Just throw a dart at the board. Just pick a drop.
all
play
right,
it.
it's going
Well,
to
that
take me
could
a
take
second.
15 minutes
but
with
I'll-
that
Oh
computer.
God!
Let me just, no, it's not. I have to get to them all. And all right, my
Hold on. See, the problem is with my drops is that they're on this file, but the problem with my storage is that I have a private storage, John.
Yeah,
That, my
this is
private
the one.
storage is not synced in with the public
Well,
storage.
he's just
here
got
at
to
the
really
company.
make sure he doesn't hit that Brandy Love. That he's been
No,
saying.
I
He's
wouldn't
gonna-
save that.
that's
It's in a
Yeah,
different folder.
yeah.
Egg sausage.
That's the first one I grabbed.
Yeah,
Is
that's
Butch
a good
talking about any Butch drop talking about food was always a winner. Was always a winner for me. So I liked
Teal
yeah.
chop just-
Balls and potatoes.
Yeah, I had a lot of those. I had a lot of those. Those are some good ones. I'll grab stuff out of the
Do you
I'll grab
have
stuff
these-
out of the basement every now and then.
Do you have them stored by name? Like, is there a Red Hot folder, or do you have them just all in the sound folder?
No, I
Even
have
better,
them all.
John, I'm pretty sure most of them. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off
You're
here
good.
because this is one that when I came over to the station and operating the board, John, they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we got all these drops." I'm like, "Sweet, okay." Sounds like a lot less work that I got to do of bringing a bunch over. The problem is he's got them all saved, but all of them start with the word "drop."
They do.
So
Oh,
you can't
God.
just search. You can't just search. Seinfeld.
You search
gotta go
drops.
drop and then scroll all the way down through
Whoa.
the 500 of them that then
That
find them. It's not-
sounds
it's
like
not-
bad
it's a little tedious.
organization.
No, it see
That
it
sounds
works.
like-
In my
no.
mind, it worked because
But
you
no, Armin, what you did was you eliminated all the files in your filing cabinet, and you just open a drawer and throw a file in.
well,
And okay, well, it's in.
All right,
well,
we
it's
gotta
in the
save this.
drop
Hey,
file
Do
folder.
you have the report for the home inspection? Laura asked Armin. Yeah, it's in that filing cabinet over there.
No, but that would be in a different
Everybody
drawer.
Where?
has that.
That
Where?
would be, in a different drawer. It would be under
Which
report.
drawer?
It would be under the reports.
It'd be under
Drawer.
reports. Okay,
So
which drawer? It's in the
drops.
reports drawer. Now Laura's got to look through 700 reports in that drawer.
No, because in theory, I would say drop Seinfeld, then all the Seinfeld drops. So you could still, it's all still alphabetical.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, that would be easier if they were all in a folder. No, it's
All right,
all in the
Armin.
Armin Sarian folder,
Give
and
me-
they all are
This
just they all
big
just
folder.
start with the word that says drop. So
You
there's
gave us a
still no
butch.
easy organization.
Well, if you don't know my system, then yes, I would agree with you.
Okay, well,
yeah.
let's see how quick you are on your feet with your system. Okay, let's test this thing out. All right, give me a red hot drop now.
All
Go.
right. Well, wait a minute. Okay, give me a second here.
Yep,
All
red hot
right.
drop.
Well,
all
hold
right.
on, wait a minute.
Dirty
All right,
bingo,
one
baby.
second.
There's
Dirty
one.
bingo, baby.
There we
Give me
go.
one more. One more.
We're working on it.
Let's see here. What we got for you here? All right. I
All
want to make
right.
sure they're, I got to make sure they're not too dirty.
Mama's on the phone. Mama's on the phone.
Okay.
No, I think
So a
it's
You're
huge
right.
mistake made by John Coon.
Where'd that one come from?
There you go.
Right?
Okay, so you have.
So a
you
huge
have-
mistake made by John Coon.
He's got that one saved 15 times.
He's got that one double saved.
Now,
Hey.
now, remember, there was also the great P drive disaster of
Yes, there was-
2021.
There
okay.
was the
Mhm.
P drive
It's
vanishing
like the Great
into
Chicago Fire.
ether
You know?
air. Okay, give me a Billy. Give me a Billy.
I broke my back.
Oh, I don't have
No,
a.
that's Tyson.
Spinal.
I don't have enough
I
Billies
appreciate
yet.
that you
Give me a
call me,
Schefter. Give me a Schefter.
Don't have a Schefter. Don't have a Schefter.
You don't have the Schefter anymore?
Nah, I don't know where that what happened
You
to that
played
one.
that for a month straight?
Yeah, I don't have it. And I gotta compile some Billies. You
Give
gotta
me a
start
Zabe.
saying some wild stuff, Billies.
He's said all kinds of wild stuff. Give me a
Yeah.
I
Zabe.
was gonna say once a day at least.
Has he said a lot of stuff? Zabe.
I mean, I
I've
couldn't
got
have said anything
Collinsworth.
stupider yesterday than when I
Yeah.
got the gardens mixed up in the east coast of TD Garden and
Well,
Madison
I
Square.
wasn't gonna make a drop out of that, Billy. I didn't want to totally, I didn't want to
Oh
totally
no, I
do
would
you like
prefer
that.
that you just viscerally roast us with some of the drops.
I
as
do.
Well.
That's I guess so. That's true. Let's see. What do I have here from Zabe? Here's one I got.
Talking urinals. What about ice in the urinal? Where do you stand on that?
Well, I don't stand on the ice in the urinal. I
Sure.
do something else to it, but it's definitely a necessity,
Yeah, that is. There's one.
right? Like, I mean, if you go to a bar and they don't have any in the urinals, you're looking around saying this is going to be not the place we want to close down here tonight. Because at some point, this place is going to get quite smelly.
I would agree with that one. I guess I have less
Okay.
Zabes than I thought too. So
You don't really have that much, is what I'm finding out.
I maybe
Yeah.
have to rebuild my my empire.
Do you have
here.
a Josh Albrecht? You don't have
John Kuhn got a little revenge on that when
That's
he
not
said,
Josh Albrecht.
I didn't get it in.
Okay, well there you go.
That's another good one. That's
Hey, you don't get it in on first try, get it in on the second. Okay.
Try and try again.
oh man. Okay, so
That's something else.
well,
Okay.
I'm gonna
All right.
rebuild. I'm gonna rebuild the empire.
Yeah, why don't you build this back up?
Yeah, I'm gonna rebuild
Reset with that. Get the Charles Dickelson one potentially a little bit
Yes.
higher up on the list. So that's
Dickelson.
a quicker pull
Mhm.
for us here.
I feel like all he has is Butch and Red Hot. He doesn't have anything else.
Yeah, I got some of you, John. You want some more John Coons?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that what
give
we
me a
want?
couple- Give me a couple.
Let's
more.
see. Well, some of yours are kind of dirty here. Let's see. No, this one's pretty good
Well,
here.
we're pretty much statewide. I do it now. A little goofy guy named Armin Sarian.
Little goofy guy named Marvin. Sorry.
That's what I liked a lot. But
What
that's
else we
good.
got? What else we got?
Let's see here. I don't know.
Man.
You got to make sure that they're not. I got to make sure.
How
they're good
could
for
they
air.
be dirty? It's all stuff we've said on air.
All
Yeah, I know, but
FCC clean.
the way I kind of take them out of context, John, can be a little bit,
Armin, they've been said on air already.
I know, but
He said,
I slice.
yeah, I'm not trusting it.
Listen, I've
Yeah.
been smashed in New York City.
No, that wasn't dirty. That was
No, I
clean.
guess that was
What
no,
else?
that
What
one's
else?
fine.
Well, why
Rocking
don't you
out
go-
and getting laid.
why don't
Right?
you- See, now why don't you go clean some of these up, get them ready to roll, and then after match Nyman stops by and talks to us from the Athletic, we can reset with some more of these. All right, well, you clean up your own house,
Let's
as
do
Mac
it.
would say. Clean up that drop folder, and let's get some bangers in here after match Nyman stops by and talks some Packers with us. It's 414-799-1973. NicolaLaw.com talking text line. You got 9 to noon statewide with Kuhn, Billy, and Armin on the game. It's 9 to noon, statewide on the game. Billy Schmid back with Armin Sarian and John Kuhn, our two-time Super Bowl champion, and now being joined as he wipes off the camera there to clear up the look.
This is ridiculous. I mean, this is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
What's ridiculous?
The fact that we have come to have this great relationship with Matt Schneidman directly on our show every week for years on end. The fact that, he now has his own show on the station during football season. We do a podcast together, and the guy comes on with us, and he's got the 5 o'clock shadow running. The hair is a mess. He can't put the camera in a place that doesn't have all kinds of lights and fogging issues. I see him on with Kay Adams. He's freshly shaved. He's got that. He's got the Freddie Mercury mustache looking perfect. I see him go on with McAfee. Same thing. Good background. We get him. We get to see ceiling tiles.
Well, let me explain a couple things. As always, it's good to talk with you guys.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm at Lambeau right now because the construction workers at my new house accidentally dug up the Wi-Fi line, so my internet has not been working for the past day and a half, and
should have called Digger's Hotline.
And is getting fixed later today. So I came here for Wi-Fi, and as for the appearance, listen, it's a hassle to shave a full beard. It's like a whole thing. So I was not cleanly shaven when I went on Kay's show a couple days ago. You kind of have to plan it out. When are you going to shave for a big appearance? And this is obviously a big appearance, but I had
here on this show.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
This is my biggest appeal, bigger than Kay, bigger than McAfee. This is my number one priority.
I don't blame you for trying to look good for that, for Kay. I don't. No, I really don't.
That's not the reason.
You got a thing for Kay, Armin?
Yeah, Armin, what's that about? You're
it's not about me.
Trying to look good for Kay Adams?
No,
I mean, Matt's closer with her. He might be able to facilitate you going on there and talking about
listen, let's keep this to football. It has nothing to do with appearance or whatever. I thought I actually looked quite scruffy on that show, but when I shave my full beard and just have a mustache, it takes like a day or two for the beard to grow back. So I can't just shave every 2 days because it's a lot of effort. So I'll shave later this week, but I just didn't this morning. So I apologize.
No, I understand
for looking homeless.
I wish I had that problem.
You ever tried
I've been growing
beard?
this patchiness of nothingness for the last 4 weeks. This guy shaves one time, and in 2 days, he's got basically a full beard.
Did you ever try one of those electric ones that you could just buff up every morning?
Yeah, I have. But the neck is the problem. The neck is the issue because that requires an actual razor. Then there's some cuts and there's, it doesn't always do a perfect job. So yeah, I use the electric razor on the face, but the neck is what causes the issues.
And we're dudes.
Wouldn't
We're
this be
lazy.
the time though to be working through some of those, getting the practice of not cutting yourself during off-season strengthening and conditioning phase 2 of the off-season program, not during OTAs, right? Like this feels like the time that you could be getting better at the neck shave so you don't have those cuts come the season.
Well, you see, my beard's very thick, so there's some level of blood, not a lot, pretty much every time I shave. So it's just some cuts here and there almost every time because I have to use new razors fairly often because of how thick the hair is. So we just deal with it.
Interesting. Okay. I would just do electric.
811, by the way, next time you're going to dig, just call before you dig.
Call them before you dig.
Right, Armin? I mean,
the Spectrum, what I was told was that the Spectrum people just didn't bury the line deep enough.
Oh, yeah, they're going to blame them.
Everybody's going to point fingers. So no one's going to point a thumb. Nobody ever points a thumb.
If this line was deeper, I wouldn't have a problem here. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I get that.
They're pointing a lot of fingers, but there's always 4 pointing right back at you if they're pointing one finger somewhere else. So they better figure themselves out.
Hopefully they get it fixed quick and it's painless for you because that's got to be – I'm sure that's annoying to not have that. You're trying to pick up the hot spot and figure the hot spot out and do all that stuff. It can be annoying, I'm sure.
Going to work, yeah. Or just going into the office and being able to see everybody. What are you able to gather and able to see here as we get some coordinator conversation on Monday? And this not OTAs, but they are kind of organized team activities, called a different thing. What exactly is going on with Green Bay Packers football in the off-season training program that we're somewhat privy to being able to see.
Yeah, I think they're in phase 2 right now. I don't know exactly what that entails, but like you said, we got some coordinators Monday. We have, oh my God, John is destroying that water. Holy
Finished
mother.
it. Yep.
Today we have offensive position coaches, Jason Vrabel, Tom Clements, and the like. Tomorrow we have defensive position coaches, and Rich Bisaccia had to move his presser from Monday. But after rookie minicamp, we don't have any other practice viewing until May 21st, I believe, when the entire team practices together. OTAs start May 20th. So right now it's just like strength and conditioning stuff. They'll do some on-field ball stuff here in about 2 weeks. But yeah, it's good just to catch up with these guys. We haven't talked to them since, the end of last regular season. So it's interesting to hear, say, Adam Stenovich's thoughts on Jordan Morgan potentially being a left tackle, or Jeff Hafley on what he thinks about Xavier McKinney. So always good to, get a status update with some key players.
Thoughts on the rookie minicamp? What was the big takeaway there?
It's interesting because last year there were some opportunities for, say, undrafted guys to crack the roster. I've seen this on Twitter, but there aren't really that many opportunities, I don't think, for undrafted guys to crack the roster just because the Packers are returning so much. But it's good to see, the top picks who look like they might start. Jordan Morgan, who we can't really see much of what he can do, but the Packers like his athleticism, seeing him, on the field. He looks like a left tackle. He does not look like a guard. He's a massive human being. Edgerrin Cooper, he had I understand it's just like a non-contact drill, but there's a drill where the linebackers kind of backpedal and then break on a ball and someone throws it to them. And he had this ridiculous one-handed catch for an interception and then had a fumble recovery. And then Javon Bullard, you can't really tell because you can't see people hit people. But, yeah, it's good to just see these guys in the flesh, see, the coaching styles of some of the new guys. Anthony Campanelli, their new linebacker coach, who I believe was like an in-season Hard Knocks star for the Dolphins last year. He's really animated on the field. So not too much to take away, but it's always good to be watching football.
John, that one-handed interception fumble recovery makes me feel even better about our potential here with the Cooper 33-1 at Potawatomi Hotel Casino Sportsbook. Defensive rookie
of the year.
All right, 33-1.
Not a bad shot to take.
The guy just
Linebacker,
one-handed interception,
be involved in a lot of
recoveries.
plays. Probably going to be around 100 tackles this year. Yeah, make a couple turnovers. Yeah, I could see it.
A lot of defensive picks went really late, so
I feel like for defensive player of the year overall, that's probably always going to go to an edge rusher, unless there's a corner who just allows nothing all season. Mm-hmm. But I think we talked about it on here last week how it was Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly, way back when they won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I feel Defensive Rookie of the Year has a higher chance of it being a non-edge rusher position. Didn't Sauce Gardner win it a couple years ago? I think there's a higher variability for what that position could be. I don't even know if that's the right word. So I think you got a better shot of a linebacker winning Defensive Rookie of the Year rather than Defensive Player of the Year.
Is that what you remember part of the conversation last week, John? I seem to remember Match Diamond saying there's no chance that a inside linebacker is winning Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Well, I think he thought it was Player of the Year. But talk about some of the other guys on the defensive side, young guys, new guys that you got a chance to see. Kalen King has been a guy many people have talked about, the young cornerback. He was second team All-American just 2 years ago, and then this year dropped, pretty quickly in the draft there to a 7th rounder. What did you gather from him?
Yeah, he had the forced fumble on Edgerrin Cooper's fumble recovery, so he's out there. He looks nice early on from that limited sample size, but again, he's playing against guys at wide receiver who are potentially never going to see the field. So let's wait until he gets against, the Christian Watsons, the Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Bo Melton. That second cornerback position for the Packers is interesting. And by second, I mean the one starting outside corner opposite Jair Alexander. Now, the Packers are really hyping up Eric Stokes this offseason. Jeff Hafley, Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst, Stokes looks good. Stokes looks great. He looks really good. We can't count on him for anything until he proves he can stay healthy. We just can't. He came back for that Denver game last year, played 4 special team snaps and messed up his hamstring again, and then came back for the Panthers game and then went on IR after that game. Carrington Valentine, Packers really like where he is. I don't know if the Packers don't like where some guys are, but they're hyping up Carrington Valentine too. I wonder if Kalen King can maybe sneak into that mix. Carrington Valentine was a 7th-round rookie last year.
Mhm.
So Kalen King maybe sneak into that mix and dig up some of that 2022 second-team All-American. I also want to ask you guys this, and I've mentioned this on here before. Keyshawn Nixon was fine at the nickel last year. Wasn't always great. He has plays like the interception of Patrick Mahomes, but then he has plays like losing I forget who it was, the guy at the end of the Giants game to lose that game or put them in field goal range, and those were back-to-back weeks. Packers are really high on Javon Bullard's ability to play nickel. They think Evan Williams can play nickel too. We talk about getting the best 5 out there on the offensive line. Isn't it the same in the defensive backfield? And if they want the best 5 out there, what if midway through the season they say, you know what, having 3 safeties in the middle there with, I don't know, Evan Williams at strong safety and Bullard at nickel, or Bullard at strong safety and Evan Williams at nickel over Keyshawn Nixon? Is that something we could see?
Yeah, I definitely think it's something that you could see. And you definitely want the 5 best guys out there because nickel is going to be your primary package throughout the course of the season. And I think you're onto something here, Matt. I mean, Eric Stokes, we know about how he's been limited because of the injury that he had in Detroit just a little over a season and a half ago. And that really limited what he could do both in 2022 and in 2023. But we're talking about a guy who has, to his career, 1 interception and 14 passes defended, right? I mean, that it's not like even when he was healthy, he had a ton of production, and he's always been the cornerback opposite of Jair Alexander. I think it's going to be a very competitive battle for that second cornerback spot.
I agree too. And Eric Stokes hasn't played football worthy of a starting spot since his rookie season. He was really good, I thought, for a rookie who came in after Jair Alexander injured his shoulder tackling Najee Harris in that Steelers game in week 4 of the 2021 season. Fun fact, and this is kind of off a tangent, but you're right, John, that second cornerback spot, along with, I think, left tackle, are the 2 position battles I'll be watching most this offseason.
They're the ones most up for grabs.
Yes, and I think right guard too. I think should Jordan Morgan, let's say, left tackle and right guard up for grabs. They're going to start Jordan Morgan at left tackle, meaning start him working at left tackle, not start him there.
Yeah.
And if he loses that job, do they just move him to right guard, or is he going to get enough cross training during the preseason where you can just make that switch if you don't like what Sean Ryan's giving you? Is Jacob Monk going to work there? But I was going to say, bringing up that Steelers game with Jair, one of my rare talents, and I don't have many, is from my time covering the team. If you say a year and a week, so for example, 2020 week 7, I can tell you who the Packers played, where they played. I can get close to the score and who scored all the Packers touchdowns in that game too. That's how.
Right.
That's amazing.
Let's do it then.
It might take me a little bit.
When did you start on the beat?
2019. So it might take me a little bit. Sometimes it takes me a
2019
little. So
week 4.
if I
2019 week 4.
What?
2019 week 4.
2019 week 4. So they played the Bears week 1, the Broncos week 2, the Vikings week 3. I think they had, if I'm not mistaken, was it the Lions week 4?
Lions week 6.
Lions
Week 6 at home.
Yeah, it wasn't the Lions, but you're getting
Yeah,
close.
I was just trying to get it quickly. If I go through all the teams in my head, I'll get every single one, but I just don't want to leave dead silence on the radio. So give me another one, and I'll take a little bit of time while you guys talk about something else.
2019 week 5.
It's pretty impressive that you can think of all that you think that you can too. I mean, that's like that's the thing people usually think I can do, which I can't.
2019 week 4 was the Eagles at home on Thursday night when Aaron threw the interception in the end zone and they lost by 7, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, Devontae hurt his foot, so 2019 week 5.
Devontae also had 2019 week 5
Week 5.
Um,
Week 4 is when Devontae. Now this is a huge hint. Devontae turf toe week 4 against the Eagles late in the game. Devontae or
right, I
2019
know.
week 5.
I'm going through divisions.
You might not be as good. This is your thoughts.
No, it just takes a little bit. I can remember it. It's just not off the top of my head.
Don't have to go through that many divisions.
Fill the space for like 30 seconds.
Okay, 2019 week 5. It was an away game. There were fans leaving at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was a wild game, and somebody on the team had 4 touchdowns.
Oh, it was the Cowboys game when Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns.
Correct.
There we go.
And I
Hit
remember that because
All right,
I had a
remembers it now.
Zadarius Smith feature that I had finished already, but it was running that following week, so I needed him to have a good game, and he had 2 sacks that game.
Let's try a double or nothing. Okay, Jair had an interception that game. Who dropped the ball?
Meaning receiver wise.
Yeah.
No long snapper.
Well, Jair didn't play well at all that game. Because didn't Amari Cooper go for like 200 that game or something?
He did.
My guess is it's Amari Cooper, but Jair got torched that game, and he also got torched that Chargers game in Week 11 in LA at the old soccer stadium by Mike Williams.
They had a bye week 11 that week.
And then Jair almost fought Ryan Wood in the locker room after that game.
That's awesome. Now, that's the kind
Week
of stuff
9
we
was the
needed.
Chargers, and that's the content that
Yeah.
we come here
Yeah,
for.
what happened with
Yeah,
that?
that's what we needed. That's what we needed.
Not actually, but Jair was just on edge after he had a bad game.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe it was because they all found out that was the early trip out, and maybe there was a boat, maybe there was a party, maybe there was something else going on. Matt, we really appreciate it. We've had some people online ask if Dua Lipa is okay with you cleaning up for the Kay Adams show. I don't know if your celebrity crushes.
I don't clean up for people.
Okay.
30 seconds. What'd you think of her on SNL? 30 seconds.
I didn't watch it. Sorry.
Oh.
Don't
Thought
need
she
30
was-
seconds, Harmon.
I-
that
like-
was all he needed.
When I went on McAfee, I didn't clean up. I'm not trying to impress anybody. If people
You
don't
look
need
sweet,
to be
dude.
impressed by the looks,
Clean up that
I just
Raymond.
want people to value what's coming out of my mouth. Pause. But the content that I'm talking about.
Great use of the pause button, Matt Schneidman. That's why we dial you up. Go enjoy some, off-season strength and conditioning program phase 2 workouts later today. Some business meetings, and we'll talk next week.
Some business meetings. I like that tease. Maybe some sponsorships coming for the brick and the stick.
Oh, okay. All right. Here we go.
ABC, Matt Schneidman, always be closing. Let's go.
Yes. All right. See you guys.
Always be closing.
Working
Wow,
a
that
guest
was-
appearance
that
fee.
was
I'll
appreciated,
be
man.
I'll
Take
be
it
right
easy.
on that podcast with you guys. All right.
Yeah, I don't think they want
guess
you.
not. He left as soon as I said that.
I don't think they want you on the podcast. Sorry.
Nah,
I'm
I
not gonna
guess
lie, He
not.
was pretty bad at the talent that he said he had.
Guys,
Yeah, I'm gonna be
good
honest
at,
with
I'm
you,
really
like,
good at
I-
this, guys. Quiz me. I don't know.
I wasn't that impressed. I mean, you got like all 4 of them wrong, and we had to
I-
walk him over to the other one.
I asked him the 2 easiest games from that year, the 2 easiest games to remember that year.
I was
just
gonna
say-
throw, hey man, what was the score of the first game that year? The first
I-
one you covered.
Don't
I didn't
oversell
do
it at that
either.
point. Don't oversell it if you can't do it. I mean,
And
don't
the
oversell it.
craziest part is it's like it's not like they were weeks 13 and 14, like super late in the season, where
Back-to-back
the number of the week could have gotten mixed up by a bye week or something like that. I mean, I asked them very easy games.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I love being able to debunk certain people here. Axe in Hartford. Yeah, really sound like a real Rain Man here, bud. Absolutely so. 414-799-1973. Armin Sari and John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmid. That's 9 to noon. You got hour 2 right after this statewide on the game. I'm really good at 9 to noon, hour 2, right here on the game. Hope everybody is safe on this wide open Wednesday. 414-799-1973. Matt from Sun Prairie hit it out of the park when talking about the hidden talent that we didn't know Matt Schneidman has, or just believes he has. Because for this being his talent, Matt's not very good at this, being able to pull out the score and the result of the given team. But Ryan in a car texting us from Illinois, and we appreciate that.
Sure,
224
of course.
texter. We already know that Ryan in a car is battling through. He might be a Bears fan, but he understands that our patented sports and stuff is why he stays here on the Game Radio Network. He goes, yeah, I feel like he hates you guys and you hate him.
No one's hating anybody. It's just you have that
no
banter.
One hates anybody. No,
yeah, you have you have a buddy like that. You have your banter. Now I'll be honest with you guys though, like there are certain things you learn about this show. I think he's still learning that if you bite off more than you can chew, you have to. You might regret that if you can't come through.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I tell you guys I can juggle, I know I'm gonna have to juggle for you on this screen. Like that's just the way it is. Like if I tell you. I can. If I had 3 balls, I can juggle 3 balls. But the thing is, I can't juggle more than that. But my point is, you have to perform that. So I think that Matt probably has had moments where he's surprised himself with how many games he can remember. And I bet he can. I've had moments like that. People always assume I can remember every game I can.
I would actually bet if we had you play Matt one-on-one in that game, you would win.
Yeah, 100%.
I appreciate
I'm
that.
putting a large amount of money, a Matt Schneidman unit per se, on Armin to win that game.
I appreciate the credit, and that is a big unit, what you just mentioned. But I tend to try to undersell and over deliver more. So I don't know if I could go back and there are certain years I can remember every game probably, but I don't know if I can.
You could list through the 96 season.
96
You're
is
just,
easy.
the difference in this is you're just humble. That's the
I don't
only
know.
difference.
See, now I feel like by saying I'm humble, I'm not being humble, and now I feel bad about that. You know what I mean?
You're incredibly smart and incredibly humble. You're the best producer at the station. You're the MVP.
Why are you doing
this? Say
this?
about you?
Make me uncomfortable when you do it. But my point is, I bet if he's in the right mode, in the right moment, he could remember a bunch of games because he's covered all of them. And he like the little tidbit about Ryan Wood. I love that.
I mean, you're handsome. You keep your beard shaved. I mean, you don't complain about cuts and nicks on the neck. I mean, I don't know what to say.
What is this? I don't know. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Listen,
it, guys.
We got a lot more. We got a lot more of those compliments where they're coming later on in the program. So you just hold right there and enjoy. But we talk about yesterday as I butcher what garden the Cleveland Cavaliers were playing in. People admitted to us that they like our show, not necessarily for us being right, but because of the entertainment factor. Fellas, John, Armin, for my money, there's no more entertaining sports television show than the NBA on TNT. Inside the NBA with Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, Charles, and I know that that's not a hot take, that it's the best sports television show. But damn, guys, it's right now, John, up in the air if we're going to be able to continue to watch this, because I was not privy to as deep into the television negotiations that the NBA is and how close we actually are to TNT reportedly losing the NBA rights to NBC. I know Armin really, really loves the NBA on NBC, and there's an emotional attachment there.
Sure, there is.
It's just
because I've only grown up with the NBA on TNT, and that's a tough one to even fathom that show wouldn't happen.
Now I'm gonna cape up for Armin. The NBA on NBC. That song, that jingle, Armin. That's something.
Yeah.
Yes. When that used
and
to
a
come
Ahmad
on,
Rashad on the sideline,
you would get fired up for this.
When Marv was in his heyday and one of the great broadcasters ever, and he would know how to set up the drama. Bob Costas, they tell the story, the open. And let's be honest, it coincided with a great era in the NBA, right?
Oh, the best era in the NBA.
Best era, I would say. I mean, kind of exiting Magic Bird era into Jordan, into the 90s. But we got to remember, TNT had a lot of games during that time, too. They really did. It wasn't just only NBC. TNT had games for the 90s, and they did a good job with their games as well. They didn't have the iconic imaging, like the songs and stuff, and they didn't have the whole studio set up. They didn't have the biggest games. That was always NBC, but they did a good job with it. It wasn't like they weren't existing, so. Well,
I'll say this. You guys know, as much as I love the playoff NBA basketball, especially this year, and it's been great so far this year. It's that crew. It's the NBA on TNT. It's Ernie. It's Kenny. It's Charles. It's Shaq. It's that group. And as far as analysis goes and fun and humor, to me, it's the best sports show that we have, right? And it's bookending games, and it's at halftime, and it's fantastic. And for me, being the big football fan that I am, but still loving, playoff basketball, because regular season basketball sometimes is a grinder.
Painful.
For me, still loving that. It adds to every single game that we watch on TNT, at least for me, and it's very enjoyable. If they lose that, and Armin and I talked about it on Friday, that Charles had said, if this thing gets broken up, if we don't keep this thing together, I'm going to be a free agent. I'm going to, look for my options out there, because Ernie has come out and said, hey, he's pot committed on TNT. He's staying there with TNT. And if Ernie isn't going with Charles and Shaq and Kenny, Charles is going to put his hat in the ring to be a free agent. And that could, a lot of times when these shows end, they end because everybody is ready to take the next step in their career. That rarely does a great show like this end because a station decides, well, we're not going to pay for the rights, and it's just going to move to a different station. Rarely does it end because of a situation like that. And it's, to me, I think as sports fans, is being entertained, we would suffer the most.
Yes, like there are groups in television sports history that I think are just so iconic that you'll remember, and that is one of them. To me, it's like Summerall and Madden, and when that got broken up, right? Wasn't Pat done? He was not going to call games anymore, and then John got traded for Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. That was right. Then he started working with Al Michaels, and there was a swap for some Walt Disney images in the mix there. Armin, if I think somewhat correctly.
Well, Madden was on 3 different networks: CBS, Fox, and ABC at different times. So I know that was part of it as well. Yeah, and sometimes it's just not the same mix when you don't have the same group. So that's the other thing. Like if Ernie stays, which that's totally great. I mean, there's no problem with that. If Ernie stays and Charles and Shaq go somewhere else, would the show be the same? It might not be bad. It might be fun.
Without Ernie.
I think it'd be fun to watch when Charles and Shaq start ripping on each other. But Ernie there with the mix and Ernie running the show, and there's Kenny. It's just. Sometimes, and there's no special reason for it. Sometimes the mix, just the magic happens. And the magic happens with that show. And no matter why you try and figure out why and how and what guys you can put together, sometimes you just can't figure out why. Sometimes it's just there, and that it's just there with those 4 guys. And any change to that would be okay, but it wouldn't be the same, and it wouldn't be the great show it is. So there's no doubt about it.
Now, and this is where Andrew Marchand had a story up at The Athletic today about kind of the background as to how this started. Now, it is a large portion of it is NBC is going to pay $2.5 billion for the NBA, right? Like you throw that kind of money and that kind of figure out there, John. It's going to be difficult for anybody not to say yes, but there's some backstory here with the Warner Brothers CEO, David Zaloff, who in 2022 said, we don't have to have the NBA. And reportedly, Adam Silver's like, oh, okay, so you don't need to have the NBA. And has held that pretty close to it. This is the first time you mentioned Charles saying that he becomes a free agent. He also admitted that this is the first time he's worked there for almost 25 years that they haven't re-upped before it got to free agency for the NBA, right? In their exclusive negotiating period, they've always re-upped. So it's clear the NBA is interested in leaving. TNT, I mean, I'm watching a ton of NHL, and sports gambling is only going to make that sport, I think, better ratings on television. They got the greatest hockey player of all time on there, and maybe the most famous hockey broadcaster right now in Paul Bissonnette from the Spit and Chicklets podcast, the Barstool one that just continues to blow up. In all due respect, nobody's watching it the same way, right? Like nobody's waking up from the last hour and a half, missing the entire second half of the game saying, well, I might as well stay up for 20 minutes because they're doing the Gone Fishing. And I know this is going to be hilarious once they bury the Phoenix Suns. Like there's something to that show that it transcends even the load management nights in the NBA where you go, oh, Kevin Durant's not playing in the Suns game. I'll watch the pregame show, and then once the game tips off,
Right.
then maybe I'll find something else to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes to the fact that Shaq and Charles, they don't care. They will
Not at all.
They
No.
will be as honest as they feel about any player in the NBA. Now, you tell me, is Gretzky the same in hockey when he does that? I mean, I love when Charles and Shaq and I am not familiar with that one, the TNT NHL group, but Charles and Shaq, they will come straight out, and that's one of the hardest things to do, to be critical of people playing a game that you yourself once played, and you know how difficult it is, and you know how easily you can mess up, and you know how bad things look at times, and sometimes things are not as bad as they look, and sometimes things are not as good as they look, and to be able to be critical and throw shade when shade is appropriately due, that's one of the hardest things to do in this business, and they do it with ease.
Yeah, in whatever this Jerome said, TNT guys are mid. I don't know what you're watching, because like it's the standard bearer across all television shows in sports. And to think that anybody can be as candid as Barkley and not get canceled for it. Like
That's the thing. He's Teflon,
he said
too.
so many things that otherwise people are afraid to say. He says 4 of them a night. And like that, the types of egos and the types of personalities in that room, to be able to coexist for as long as they have, it would be a real shame for that show to end and it be because some guy in a suit 2 years ago said, yeah, I mean, we probably really don't need the NBA. It should be okay. And Adam Silver's like, okay, bet. Let's see how TNT survives without us.
And I'll be honest,
as many people as say, Armin, that they're not watching the NBA,
yeah,
all of these media rights packages are going to say differently. The amount of money that is going to continue to get pumped in the league, going to say differently. And sports gambling is going to continue having people watch bad games because they want to be able to see the final outcome and see if certain ones of their picks hit.
It's a good point, and I agree with that. I just don't know. Maybe maybe this guy has a point about their entire business and their entire business model and where that show fits into it and their NBA rights that they spend. Maybe it's not making them the money, or maybe they're going to be able to make money not getting into the NBA as much, and the way they monetize it. I'm sure they have business analysts that look at it. It's possible he's right. It just means I know there's a certain segment of audience they won't get. Now, maybe this is just us and other sports fans loving the show, but maybe it doesn't get those types of monetizing numbers that they need. I don't know. These are all questions and answers that bean counters answer, right? Business analysts, financial analysts answer. But the fact of the matter is, I won't be watching that network as much. I might from time to time, but we watch, and most people watch TV now for live sports. That's what it is. There are other shows that some people watch, but nothing gets the numbers as close to it. There's no other live appointment viewing that people like. There just isn't, unless there's a certain big event going on, a one-off here and there, maybe an award show or something, but even that doesn't get numbers anymore. Television audiences, viewing audiences are segmented. They're on demand. They're streaming. There's one thing and one thing only that still gets appointment live audiences that will sit through commercials, and that is live sports. So whether or not he's right about that or wrong about his own business analysis and his own business model, it remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, we'll lose out as fans of the show, as sports fans, as people that love that content, whether or not it's transferred somewhere else. I mean, but that's happened with a lot of shows in the past. I used to love NFL Primetime. I used to love NFL Primetime on ESPN with Berman and Jackson all the time. That was the 1 hour show you had to watch. It went away. I mean, that was just the cycle, the nature of sports media. Now they still do it on demand, but I don't go search it out now on ESPN's app, even though I can. Every now and then I watch it. It's just not this. You just don't do it anymore, right? We're watching Red Zone. We're watching other things. Our tastes will change, but that's just nothing lasts forever, I guess. You know, and I have to be honest with you. Go ahead. Yeah,
that one, and John, correct me if you think I'm a little bit off on this one, but one of the reasons why primetime was so prevalent and so big was, one, it was like Football Night in America. They had all the games, but you also weren't able to watch all the games, right? So like actually needed the highlight packages to see, oh wait, that Chargers Seahawks game actually ended up being sweet at the end of the day. And you hadn't seen a whole large amount of it. And then Tom Jackson retires. Like, this is dudes that still want to do it, still great at doing it, and potentially branching off all over the place. I don't know that Barkley's going to be as good without Kenny Smith and Shaq. Like, he's going to be interesting, right? He's going to be provocative. You're going to listen to some of the things that Barkley says. Just
Well,
not going to be
so
the same. I don't think he's going to be as good.
No, I think Charles is going to be just as good no matter what he does if he does something else. If this goes the way of, the white buffalo, as they say, and it disappears, I think Charles will be just fine. I think Ernie will be I think they'll all be just fine. But the show itself, I mean, together, they're all just a cog in a wheel that is an unbelievable show. And all of them together is the perfect mix. It's kind of like PTI on ESPN. It's one of the few shows that I still have to watch because Tony and Wilbon are just so amazing with each other. They play off each other so well, and it's the dynamic of the two of them. Are they both incredible writers and analysis for their sports that they cover? Yes, absolutely. And they'll be great when they're not together, but together it's something special.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
It's apparent that a change very much could be imminent and that Adam Silver is ready for them to move potentially off of TNT because the rest of the Wall Street Journal, New York Post, and The Athletic reporting from Andrew Marchand is that ESPN is going to pay $2.6 billion with a B each season for the NBA Finals, Conference Finals, while Amazon Prime Video, you want to get people fired up, Prime will receive a conference final every other year and is expected to be in the $1.8 billion per year range.
And that's the next place we're going because places like that and the whole Peacock thing, they know they can try and coerce subscriptions by doing that. As much as people hate it, that's the reason they do it, is because live sports has that power. And there's a sense of, I just not going to miss this game. So as annoying as it can be for a lot of people, and we know how the people have Peacock and Badgers games and stuff like that.
And
Packers games, those are going to be going to there for that reason. And unfortunately, we just get manipulated by these networks. That's just the way it is. And they try and make the most money they can off our viewing habits. The NBA returning to NBC is a lot of fun also for people that have that great nostalgia and primacy bias. Let's admit it's a lot of primacy bias that the NBA and NBC was great. It's also because we grew up with. But Billy, another generation closer to yours is going to feel the same way about NBA being on ESPN, the TNT crew now, and they're going to grow up saying, "You guys don't know what it was like when we had Charles and Kenny every night. That was the best. That was the heyday." So, this is just kind of the way things eventually seem to progress. Remember, guys, Charles said a couple of years ago that he was going to retire soon. In a couple of years. So who knows if he just retires? I mean, I don't know if I ever believed that. I see your face. Yeah. I didn't either.
He's making way too much money to hang it up.
But you know what? If it's this easy now of a decision, maybe he just does retire do a Jordan retirement and it comes back to a different network eventually. I don't think he'll stop
he's got
working.
A couple of those if he's going to use Jordan retirements. What, he's got 2 or 3?
He's got a couple left. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
He can get a couple too with Favre if he wants to match that number too. Like you can stack them up. You can keep adding them up if he would potentially want to. Charles Barkley, way too bad of a gambler to stop working.
Yeah,
I think that might also be one of the issues for Sir Charles. 414-799-1973, NicoletLaw.com talk and text line can take some reaction to that. We're also getting reaction and got some earlier to Armin Sarian mentioning the home run from Willy Adames yesterday. Is he one of the more underrated, underappreciated Milwaukee Brewers? And is he a core piece that you can't let walk out the door? Some of the money that shortstops are making in Major League Baseball might suggest the Brewers have to go that way, but we'll debate it as well as take some more reaction at 414-799-1973. It's John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian. It's 9 to noon on the Game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin with a huge announcement for you. And that announcement is you only got a few more days. The time is now and only for a very limited time. And if you order from Pella, you get 0% off for 60 months. Try finding that deal anywhere else, but you only have until the end of the week, May 10th, for this incredible deal. So you must jump on it now. And when it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows or doors, you can do it with confidence, and it's a breeze. And you can see exactly how your products will look in your home before they start doing the work. Whether your home is newer, classic, mid-century, modern, or something truly historic, Pella's got DesignWorks, and that lets you virtually see what your home will look like with their new windows and patio doors before you buy. It's funny. They show you the computer, you look at the screen, and you see exactly what you're going to get. Vinyl, wood, fiberglass, it doesn't matter. Pella has all the options to bring your vision to life, creating the perfect style for your home. But you need to act fast. Get 0% interest financing for up to 60 months if and only if you order by May 10th. That's the end of the week. So set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com and tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Certain restrictions apply. See Sherman for details.
It's 9 to noon on the game statewide inside the Iron Jock Studios, which today, a little bit mobile version for myself, as I am in our Madison complex, which, fantastic building here, by the way, fellas. They got one of the coolest coffee machines that I have ever seen.
I know, man. I'm jealous of that every time I go there.
Man, media does start with me, as Drew Olson appropriately taught me. When I get into this free coffee machine here, I've went every single break and gotten a cup. So, like, John, I don't know if that makes me a real jerk in the building for drinking all the free coffee. Maybe I really look like a tourist, but I'm checking this thing out. I'm pushing all the buttons.
No,
it's got a touch screen on it.
But what kind of coffee are you getting? I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 coffees already. Or you got some fancy frou-frou stuff? Are you doing cappuccinos? Are you doing, espresso? What are you doing? So I went back. I went black coffee with this one.
Nice.
But the first time I went in there, I'm like, I'm gonna break this thing if I do anything extra. Then the second break, I looked around. There was nobody in the break room. All right, let's see what this latte is all about. Wasn't all that good.
Trying a cafe latte?
Yeah, wasn't that great? You know what? I think I messed it up. It was my personal issue. Went back next break, John. Let's see what this mocha is all about. Right. So I'm going around the board.
He's just sampling.
I'm doing a little sampling, right?
He's riding the rail. He's riding the rail. He's going to have one of every tap that they have in the building.
Well, you're going to be like,
it's like a
which is going to make for a great hour number 3 when Billy absolutely.
Kramer got fruit cafe lattes. It's like you, Billy. You're going to be giving everybody cafe lattes now. You guys see what I can do? I can get a cafe latte. I can get a mocha. I can get a cappuccino. I can get a hot chocolate. Half hot chocolate, half decaf coffee. You can mix up your own stuff probably. It's going to be fantastic.
Dude, I'm testing it all out. Now the issue is I only got the small cup, so I'm making sure that they're only little shot sizes.
Better for
samples.
So
it's like a coffee flight is really what it feels like. Yeah. It feels like I went to a brewery and I'm sampling everything they got. And hopefully I'm not going to get cut off like that video potentially saw during the break of Ric Flair getting cut off. There is nobody humanly possible that talks trash better than Ric Flair does. We can't play any of the video that I watched during the break of Ric Flair getting cut off in an establishment back home. But John, there's certain guys that have an innate ability that you're never going to be able to lose, right? Steph Curry is going to have a jump shot until he dies. He's going to be able to hit threes forever. Brett Favre, I still believe, is going to be able to throw a spiral and a heater till he's about 80 years old. Ric Flair is going to be able to walk circles and talk circles around people till the day he finally passes away, even though Josh has tried to kill him for the last like 4 or 5 years on these airways.
In the ring, out of the ring, at a bar while getting cut off for having too many, but
at like 2 in the afternoon.
But did he lose? He did. I mean, this video is pretty damning to Ric Flair. He's got a patron sitting next to him that finally says, "I'll go out in the parking lot with you," and you're not going to like it.
You're not going to want that.
I will work you. That was from a regular Joe patron, and Ric Flair turns that one down, that bid down. But then he makes an offer, and I need to know this from you, Armin. He makes an offer to one of the waitresses, and it might have even been the manager at the restaurant. If she tells the worker that cut him off to kiss her blank, he will tip her $1,000. The waitress refused to do it. Now I want to know, Armin, if a nooner offers you $1,000 to tell me straight here on air to kiss your blank, would you do it?
It's tough. I might, but I'd have to see the money first. I'd have to know I'm getting the money, because I think I could patch it up with you. To be honest with you, I really do. I think I could
grab
do it.
one of the Ben Franklins and hand it to him, and I think he'd be okay.
You might be
Armin, thank you for saying that. This is the only rational thing you've said today. It makes the most sense in the world, and I can't. But if you'd have said no, No, I would have really questioned everything, all this humility and everything else. I would have said, no, Armin, that's the wrong answer. If someone's going to pay you $1,000 to tell me to kiss your blank, you absolutely do it. And I can't believe the manager of this restaurant didn't do it, accept Ric Flair's money, and then just say to a worker, well, we're going to split this thing. You understand?
Yeah,
See, I think
right? You cut him off because
Yeah.
he's drinking too much. Now he wants to pay me $1,000 to say something. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Right.
Take that $1,000. That was a miss on her.
I think you have to take it because you have to believe that later on you could explain it and be like, listen, this was the story. She must not have thought he was good for the 1,000. Because I know if I
Then
could
you
do
don't
it
know-
and you
Yeah.
I explained to you what happened and you would be totally proud of me. Be like, oh yeah, no, you're good. Like that's
I'd
a
have
smart
told him,
move.
Rick,
Smart move,
right
Armin.
Write that $1,000 right there on that little, bill that we
Mhm.
gave you. We've already rung your card. Write that 1,000 there. Sign your name,
Exactly.
and then I will say it.
Make that the tip, right?
I am
If I-
doing that.
Dude, if I was one of the bus boys, I would have ran over and told the boss to kiss my blank and said, hey, can I sign it for the rest of the crew here? Because I mean, $1,000, we're going to circle that bad boy up. Every one of us on this staff is going to be having themselves the best tipped out night of our lives.
I think it's easier in that position too, because I'm not trying to like industry shame, but that's not a one-of-one job. If you're a waitress or a bar manager or a busboy, there's a lot of bars and a lot of restaurants. This is a little tougher of a business to do that in because there's not as many like radio jobs. You know what I mean?
Armin,
Like,
I would, if a nooner offered you $1,000 to tell me to kiss your blank and you didn't do it, I would go to Red Hot and say, you need to have a talk with me.
yeah, I know, right? That would get me in more trouble.
Different producer.
No,
Yeah.
that would get me in more trouble, I
You gotta
think,
get a move.
with this show, with this group, if I didn't do it. No doubt about it. Yeah, that's
Would
an
you-
easy one for me. Yeah.
Would you say it to Tim?
Tougher with Tim, right? Because he's your boss, right? It's a little bit tougher with Tim, but I'm also pretty sure that once I explained to Tim the situation, he'd laugh about it too and be like, "Oh, that was smart, Armin. Yeah, you're fine. That was a smart move." I'm not really afraid of like Tim taking it wrong unless I don't have a chance to explain it to him, but I had to sell it. You can't just like wink at him while you're doing it, right? Like you can't do that. You have to sell it. You have to be
Especially
actually
not that badly.
no,
Yeah,
right. You
definitely
have to
not
be
that badly
actually
aware.
like try to sell it to be like, no, you know what? Kiss my blank or whatever like that, But
Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have asked if the waiter or waitress had any lipstick to potentially be able to go on and then potentially pucker as well as possible, grab themselves a nice sheet of paper and decide right or left cheek as to potentially to where they're going to kiss my candy ass, take that $1,000 and go and find me another job. I'm taking every dime of that. And then I'm telling that boss to go pound sand.
I
Thank
think
you very much.
I think we just stumbled upon the Heller staff poll show, the poll of the day. Which member of the 97 through the game staff would you most likely want to tell you to kiss my blank? That's probably something like that now.
I like AAA Dante for a G. Kiss my entire rear end. See, I mean, you can find a lot of different ways to be able to shine that bad boy up. That's fantastic. For as many different times as we thought we've lost Ric Flair, I'm glad we haven't. And mostly because that video is too funny to laugh at, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's a tough situation, but my man is getting bounced out of there. I don't know that all of us have been in that position where we've been overserved and cut off. I know that there have been moments where I've been suggested to leave. Still not in the rarefied air where I can say, you know what? If I give you $1,000 tip, can I stay right here on this stool? Right here on this stool?
That
No,
was
still
probably
not doing
his
it.
mistake. He probably should have just said, "Oh, listen, man, here's $1,000. Let me stay. I'm sorry
Yeah.
I gave a little profanity. I'll keep it down for now on."
Yeah, I apologize. I'll go PG-13 for the rest of the afternoon. 414-799-1973. It's the NicolayLaw.com talking text line. 414-799-1973. Willie Adames back with the crew for an extended time. Some financials might make that a little bit more
MVP.
difficult conversation.
MVP.
Ooh. Armin Sarian strong on the Willie Adames support. That's coming up. It's 9 to noon on the game. Hey guys, the NBA playoffs are the best time of the year in basketball. It's really not even close. But the best way to be invested during the NBA playoffs is with the NBA Pick'em game at Underdog Fantasy. It's pretty simple. You select between 2 to 5 players on multiple teams to build out your Pick'em entry, select higher or lower on a player's stats. And if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money, or, like 3.4 times your money, which was just 2 MLB pick'ems yesterday. Colin Ray, a first higher than a first 1/2 first inning strikeout. Brewers higher than putting up a run and a half in the first 3 innings. Being able to cash one yesterday for your boy. We're enjoying that. It's legal in Wisconsin. It's tons of fun to play along. And since the game here tonight, Indiana, New York, we already know Tyrese Halliburton, the Wisconsin guy. Not a lot of people want to go higher on those. But if you think higher than 24.5 points, you can get 2.75 times. Those are the scorch statistics at Underdog Fantasy, which multiply your odds. My favorite part of it. It is a super easy app to get started. All you do is download the Underdog Fantasy app, sign up with promo code Billy, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they're going to give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick 'em entry. That's it. Use promo code Billy, BILLY. Get your first deposit of $10 or more up to $100 match, plus your special pick to use on your first pick'em entry tonight at Underdog Fantasy. Play with us. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Joe cracked the dawn, Got it.
Hour 3, 9 to noon, always the best one of the day. It's brought to you by Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. Everybody relax. RELAX, as one quarterback once said. Go to happyplacehemp.com and get all of your hemp products 25% off when you use promo code Billy, BILLY. The best part about Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com are that it's locally made, resourced, and the best part is you can go and talk to the dudes that made the products, that design and start up everything there with Rob and Chris at Happy Place Hemp. They will give you every answer you possibly have, whether it's about their pet products. Last night, storms were raging. Pets were not having any of it. Calm them down as well in a natural, safe way. HappyPlaceHemp.com can do that for you, as well as their Delta 8, Delta 9 gummies, which are recreational, and I will potentially be needing to consume some of that Tom Brady roast that we were able to witness from a week ago. Guys, before we get to a Coons Can't Miss and a dynamite winner here tonight with NBA playoffs and baseball starting up earlier in the midday with the Brewers in a matinee trying to win that series in Kansas City. The NFL is late with their homework. Now, I don't know if this really matters to as many fans as maybe John and Armin as like the NFL believes it does with their schedule release, but they started teasing that the schedule was going to be released sometime in May. Coming this May, the 2024 NFL schedule. Okay, well, it comes every year, right? Like every year we're going to end up knowing when these games are getting lined up, we know who they're playing. We at least know when the Packers are starting their season, but they were supposed to release it tomorrow. Now announced that, John, it's going to be released a week from today in their primetime schedule release party or whatever. Bigger deal is, for me, we need to know what we're doing on Christmas Day, because Armin Sarian is convinced the Green Bay Packers are playing that Wednesday Christmas Day game.
I am. I don't know why. I just feel like it's going to happen,
I want to know when the Packers are playing the Chicago Bears, right? Like, because I want to be able to know when I can get ready and how ready I need to be for Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, their first matchup. I got a lot of answers or questions that I want to have answered to, but the NFL's like, oh, hold on. Don't worry about it. Just hold on. Hold on. You got plenty of time to be able to plan your entire fall schedule around when we're going to play our games.
Well, and they're doing the Red Hot Tim Scott, playbook for setting, a tea time, right? This is what you do. You want to set appointments.
One of those days.
So what you do is you tell them it's coming, and then you tell them it's coming in this month, and then you tell them it's coming in this week, and then you tell them it's coming on this day. We don't just to give it to us. Give us the damn schedule already. Even I got to work the games, and I need to adjust my schedule based off of this schedule. And I got a father-daughter camp that I need to schedule, and I need to know what weekend we have a home game so I can do this father-daughter camp with my kids, because I won't miss it, can't miss it. And I need to find out, what weekends the Packers play home games on. So just do it already, NFL.
And you guys know how I feel about this. I love the NFL. I love what we do. I love being a Packer fan. I love working on the network, but they want every moment of our time. And I've complained about this during talk about Labor Day weekend and how we can enjoy a weekend without it. And we can still have Tuesday and Wednesday, but no, they're going to play on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I knew they were going to. And Billy, you always laugh at me when I had that tweet.
I knew it. I knew it. I just knew it.
But you know what? There are some things you do want to plan for. And I'm not just talking about us because we're working it, but Packer fans are not going to miss a game. So they're going to plan events around. Not only are they not going to miss a game, they want to travel to games. They want to plan travel. Season ticket holders. Well, everybody that has a ticket is a season ticket holder. They want to figure out those trips. They want to start getting the hotels, because you already know that the hotels, you need 2 nights minimum stay in Green Bay for those
2
hotels.
nights, Saturday, Sunday, or if you want to go Sunday, Monday, you want to make a weekend.
The IHOP on Oneida is going to start filling up for those. You're going to make. I don't think you can make reservations at IHOP, but whatever it is, we like to plan as Packer fans. We like to plan as people, and we have families. John, you talked about it. I mean, it's no joke. You got to plan those family events. So, listen, it's one of those things where I'd like it to come out so I know. I don't need to watch the show though. That's the difference between me. Some other fans love watching the schedule release show. You can just print it out for me. I don't need to watch the show.
Yeah, I don't need the show. In fact, I just need Matt Schneidman and Rob Demovsky and all the beat just start leaking the games. Just start leaking.
Yeah, I
the
want
games.
as many
The-
leaks as possible.
The leak is more fun to me than the actual unveiling of the schedule, right? The unveiling of the schedule is whatever. Give me the leaks first. That's what I like.
Do you want a couple of the leaks that I have here? Now we
You
have,
leaks. We
this
have
is
leaks
at
already.
Schedule Leaks 24 on Twitter and X. Now
Love this. Love this.
there's one game here on I have 29 different games that he has potentially leaked out for the 2024 season. Only one of which concerns the Green Bay Packers. He is calling the second annual Black Friday game will be played in Lambeau Field between the Bears and Packers.
That's
I'm
big.
Cool. I'm cool with that.
I'm good with it, even though it's
I'm
a
so
Friday.
cool with that. I'm so cool with that. It's not at home for Thanksgiving. It's Friday. We have a weekend to follow that, Armin.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is spectacular. Throw some double time on Friday, work, get that game in, and then we have off for a Saturday and a Sunday. This is spectacular. And this has been, what's their hit percentage there? Like, what's their barrel rate at this website?
Well, now that's the thing, because he changes it up like the profile year in and year out. Last year he was at like 85-90%, if I remember correctly. If this is the same cat that had the schedule leaks 23 of the hit percentage, was pretty solid last year.
Okay.
Also saying that we have for Christmas Eagles at Ravens in the nightcap, because there's two games there on Christmas Day. Saying Eagles at Ravens for the nightcap. The early game on Christmas expected to be 49ers Bills. I'll sign up for both of those.
I'm good with it.
I'm not
but
missing a second of
Okay,
either of
I
those.
like both of these, but I don't want to get that excited if I don't know what's actually real or not real. But confirmed.
Armin, he gave you a hit. He gave you a barrel percentage of
85%.
85%. This isn't Sal Frelick's barrel percentage here. This is actually making contact and putting this thing in play.
Poor Salvatore getting astray. Yeah, I don't know. I
Might be
get
well
it, and
deserved.
if that's correct, I'm good with both those days. You're right, Thanksgiving, Christmas, but okay, well, let's get the official word, and then I'll be good with that. I'll be absolutely good with that. We are traveling to Brazil, so I wonder if they're gonna give the Packers a break on the other holiday games. I'm not really sure because they're having them travel. I wonder if there was a little bit of that involved.
Packers, the early reports here are Packers are going to fly out Wednesday before the Friday game for Brazil.
Are we kidding?
That's an interesting one.
Shouldn't
Are
they
we
be
going to
there
do this
longer?
again, John? You think? Are we going to do this
what?
thing again where we make it the big, an extreme inconvenience?
But you're not really changing time zones. What's the time zone difference now that we're at daylight savings time, Armin?
2.5, right?
I think it's just 1 hour now, right?
I was gonna say it's like
you're
1 or
right.
2
How the
hours.
heck can it be a half?
No, they have. It's like no. There are some places that have a half.
You mean to tell me there's a place in the world right now that's at a 30 while we're at 10 after?
There are some places that have a half hour. I thought that maybe that was one of them.
Hold on here.
There is. Yes. No, there are
Are
some
you kidding me?
There are some time zones that are. I'm going to figure it out. Hold on.
Well, hold on. No, because I
certain
have a
places,
special.
Canada or something like that. Some time
Yeah.
zones are 30 minutes off. Yes,
I
there
have a
are.
special guest in studio, Mike Heller, generally of the Mike Heller Show, is in here, and he nodded along. So there are actually half time zones here.
Go on and look up St. John's, Newfoundland.
That's what it is. That's what I was-
Newfoundland is on the half hour.
That's a thing.
No,
It's
we're
a-
not playing.
it's
That's a
thing.
dog, not a country. That's a dog.
Yeah, and it's something that the dog is. I mean, that all that lived there initially were dogs.
Well, I
And
mean,
then-
so it didn't
and then
matter
people
what time
came in,
zone
and
they
then
had.
they didn't care.
this
They
is how
changed
dog
it up.
lives got created. They came
Yeah.
from Newfoundland,
Correct.
where they can't
But
even.
yeah, they're on the half
model
hour
their
time
clock.
zone. You can look it up.
Okay.
It's there.
I don't know
Okay,
why I
okay.
thought that was anything to do with Brazil. They are 2 hours ahead. Why did I say half? I don't know.
But this is
So you
daylight
made
savings
that
time, Armin. Are they still 2 or are they 1?
Right
We've had
now,
this discussion
right
before.
now in Sao Paulo, Brazil, right now it's 1:11 p.m. and it's 11:11 here in Central U.S. Now I don't know if
Make a
it's
wish.
going to change
Okay,
again.
it's a 2 hour difference. Fly down Wednesday. That's a long flight. How long is that flight again? 12 hours? 15
Like
hours?
12, 14
From Green
hours
Bay
at
or
least,
Milwaukee.
yeah.
Remember, we can't fly from Green
It's
Bay.
from Milwaukee.
Yeah, we're flying from Milwaukee.
Okay,
we're
I'm
busting
just-
down.
Okay.
Actually, I would
Flying
rather
out.
fly.
For
to
it's
Milwaukee.
let's see here, trip. Wait, I have this Travel Math is my website I use for this. It's an 11-hour flight because they're obviously going to go nonstop. So 11 hours. It's a long flight. I mean,
You know
that's a
what,
long
though?
flight.
But
to,
it's
to,
an
to,
11
to jet lag in 48 hours, John, and play in the National Football
Yeah,
League.
But you're but you're not gonna have jet lag because it's only a 2 hour difference. You're just gonna be a little stiff from sitting on a plane.
Well, yeah.
you can
Get some
actually
Russell
acclimate
Wilson
for this.
calisthenics in there.
They could sit them on chairs for 11 hours a day and get acclimated to this flight.
Oh, that would be a good practice.
I
think
I would like our guys to go a little bit earlier to acclimate themselves, to get comfortable, and to make it maybe an experience for these guys, like more of an experience that they embrace, a cultural experience.
Yeah. What could go wrong in Sao Paulo?
A lot could go wrong, but are they just going to be locked up in their hotel rooms?
Also go right though.
That's why I'm sorry.
I mean, think about all the fun, and you know what? Maybe somebody meets the love of their life while they're down there for the extra 2 days, right? I mean, that could be a good thing. Not necessarily the bad parts of somebody strays off the campus and ends up getting lost, and then translation with an Uber driver, they end up missing a certain
for a Packers.
That's a totally different
deal, right? I mean, like I think some good things could happen, right? Let's embrace it. Let's have some fun. More than anything, seemed like the London trip was such a pain in the rear for LaFleur and the rest of the team, or really, it felt like it was more for LaFleur, and then it funneled down to everybody else. I would just like to see,
but that
embrace the situation a little.
But that was, they flew through the night, and they got there on a Friday morning, and everything was all jacked up. You go down on a Wednesday morning, get there on a Wednesday night, you're so kind of on the clock, and everything's good, and then you have Thursday, your day before the game, you get some of the rust off from the flight. I think this is fine because the time zone is not that much different.
All right, let me ask you this. So you think that's the best method to put them in the best position to win, to play well? If you're playing, what would you prefer, John? If you're taking a flight that long to play, would you prefer more time?
Well, I did London, and I loved the fact that we flew out the night of our away game on a Sunday, got there a Monday morning before the game, and we had an entire week in London, a couple days. Monday is kind of a film day anyways, and then Tuesday's an off day. So we had those 2 days before we got cracking on things on a Wednesday. I loved that mentality that we did when we went to London. Now, for the Packers, when they went to London, I thought they probably should have gone a couple days earlier, but it's a big time difference. I don't think this one's going to have that much of an impact. Plus, hey, man, this is the first game ever being played in Sao Paulo. You got to keep that in mind, too, right? The Packers and the Eagles are the guinea pigs on this thing. What's infrastructure going to be like? What's travel around, wherever you're staying going to be like? Are there areas that you're worried about the players being? You don't necessarily want to be the guinea pigs the first time going to a different country, especially a country that they've never done this before at. So I actually think this sets up to be a little bit more conservative here, and it might behoove the Packers to do this.
Yeah, that part is interesting, John, where they are the first ones, right? So the NFL is, I mean, they don't send a game over there without having a couple of trial balloons and believe that there is a locked in place for them to be safe, sound, and comfortable, right?
Absolutely, right.
But I do get where you say, hey, man, we'll let somebody else be the first team to go here for a whole week. Right, like we'll let somebody else be the first one to roll through it. More than anything, the messaging for the London trip just stunk so bad that it felt like it set a precedent of, this is such a pain. Nope, we don't want to do this. We're frustrated about it. And then once the game turned sideways, then everybody in the fan base was like, well, this was the stupidest thing that we could have possibly ever done. At least there's a little bit of positivity where it seems like LaFleur is pumped up that they are stealing a road game turned into a neutral game, so we can have a little bit of positivity there, a little bit more energy for it. And it's a weird new experience, but I just want it to be embraced a little bit. I want it to be the fun part. And I thought more than anything, John, with it being the first week of the season, maybe that would allow you to be a little bit more expansive with the trip.
Yeah, but again, you go back to that London. It's about the messaging here, man. It's about the messaging. And at the end of the day, it's all about winning football games. And last year, we know how much one game mattered. One game got the Packers into the playoffs versus one game the other way would have gotten the Packers out of the playoffs. So a game can matter a lot in the NFL. And when London took place, the messaging was Matt LaFleur was not happy with it. Then you heard Aaron Rodgers not happy that it wasn't earlier. And you heard other players talk about they were tired, the morning of the game. So they were not happy. There was just a lot of negativity involved around the Packers playing their first international regular season game, their first London game, which was such a big draw for that city. It was such a cool environment, such a cool atmosphere, such a cool draw. And now you got this one in Brazil where you are one of the two first teams to do this. So you do have to try and figure. And I like the fact that, hey, we're going down there. We're going to play in Brazil. We don't have to play at the Link. We're going to go down there and play in Brazil, which, by the way, has as many Packer fans in this city as we do in our state of Wisconsin. I mean, let's
Yeah.
not forget that this is going to be
Oh, yeah.
a pseudo home game for the Packers in Brazil against the Eagles. And you know what? We'll do it like we were flying to the West Coast. We'll just leave one day early. It'll be a longer flight than the West Coast, but the time change won't be as bad. I like it.
I want somebody leading the Russell Wilson high knees in the aisle of the plane, though. John, you got that?
Well, listen, strength and conditioning is going to be all over this. We
That's
never
fair.
even
Get that
asked
bell
Matt
armor.
Schneidman about the 20-minute warm-ups that they're doing now. I can only imagine
Mhm.
every hour on the hour or every hour and a half or whatever we're doing with the time zone change here. Get these guys up, get them in the aisle, get them doing some high knees.
Exactly. No doubt. Gonna need to.
Yeah. That's what Chris Kizzy wasn't doing, right? That's the difference. That's the separating fact. We got to get this man doing some, and more than anything, just so I can see all the memes of Russell Wilson doing high knees on a plane, because you want to talk about the Tiffany Gomez videos coming out. That ain't real. That's what I thought when I heard Russell Wilson was doing calisthenics on the plane, but maybe the Packers will be doing some of those. All that matters is you win. Doesn't matter how you do it, by
Right.
hook or crook, however you get a W, that's the important thing. And that's what we do right here.
The man can't miss.
Time now for Coons Can't Miss, presented by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big, bet bold.
And only if Donovan Mitchell was playing in Madison Square Garden last night could you have gotten that victory. But he wasn't. He was playing in TD Garden. More on that here in a moment. But first, let me remind you that going down to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook will give you an experience unlike any other sportsbook outside of Vegas. And when you compare it to the sports books in Vegas, it's a better experience than 80% of them there as well. It really is a sight to be seen. Make your way down there to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook and take in the glorious 2,000 square foot LED screen, along with the luscious Armin recliners and sofas that they
They're
have.
nice.
Plenty of seating for over 200 people and standing room for another 200 more. You can get full capacity of a little over 400 people in this sports book, which gives it the viewing experience of being at the game, being at the event. And that's what you want without the event prices. Make your way down to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook and check it out. Now, all right, you got Cavaliers, Armin, last night, plus 12. Thing was interesting about halftime, still kind of close, still kind of third quarter. It got a little carried away. A shot by Derek White right before the end of the third quarter stretched that league out to 21 points. And Butler taking a seat with about 6 minutes left in the game. Knew that thing was a bad bet. But we thought he was playing Madison Square Garden. If we get our gardens correct, maybe we have a better chance of this. Well, tonight, Billy, tonight is Madison Square Garden, and tonight is
Can't wait.
the Pacers going into the atmosphere that they lost the other night. And hey, the NBA came out, they admitted, they said, we messed up 3 of the calls in the last 2 minutes. We got the poll report. We messed them up again, and we're okay with it. What we do in the NBA playoffs is we just mess up calls. We let you know that we messed up calls, and then you play the next game
Sorry about
anyways. It doesn't really matter. They
Sorry
do the
about
old bat on the chest. My bad.
Got you. My bad. Sorry,
My
man.
bad.
That's me.
That's
My
on
bad.
us.
That's on me.
That's
That's
on
on me.
us. And it was on them. And the Pacers lost themselves a chance of stealing game 1. Well, they got a chance to steal game 2 here. The spread, 1 point lighter than what it was the other night. It was plus 6 the other night. Smashed it, took it home with a victory. I'm going to take it again, plus 5 in this one. I think the Pacers are going to be jacked up. I think the Pacers are going to play this thing just as close as they did in game 1, if not closer, depending on the referees and the number of my bads they have down the stretch in this thing. I like the Pacers plus 5 at Madison
Square Garden. How about this one? Armin, you'll like this.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller returns for a Pacers-Knicks game in
How
the
about
Garden
that?
tonight
How about
as
that?
He's on the broadcast with TNT.
How about that? Reggie Miller returns for a Pacers-Knicks game. Those were a lot of fun in the 90s. If you haven't watched Winning Time, the 30 for 30, I think it's really good. I think it's entertaining. If you love that era of basketball, watch the Winning Time 30 for 30. It's all about how Reggie won a lot of games and hit a lot of shots that didn't really matter against the Knicks. Because what they don't like to talk about is Knicks won most of the important games in that series, in that whole little rivalry.
You know what everybody
the Knicks
forgets
won
about?
most of the important things, and Reggie really didn't come through as much as history wants us to think he did.
Armin?
He also had missed 2 big free throws. Yes.
But the 8 points in 8 seconds game at Madison Square Garden for Reggie Miller.
Oh, yes.
People forget somebody was at the line for the New York Knicks and missed 2 free throws in the middle of that. Do you remember who it was?
Yeah, was that Starks or Charles Smith?
Which one? Which one are you taking? You got to take one.
Charles
taking
Smith.
Starks.
Charles Smith. I don't remember.
Billy's right.
Is it
Armin,
Starks? I
come on, man.
overthought it.
I would have
That's
bet
your
my
boy,
life
too.
you knew that one.
Yeah.
I overthought it.
He's always talking about John Starks. John,
I
it's
know, I
1
would've-
in the afternoon on a freaking Sunday, and this guy's like, look at John Starks sitting here on the sideline of games in courtside, game 4. I don't care
overthought
about
it.
John
I
Starks.
For as much of a Starks fan as he is, I would have thought for sure Starks is at the games now with Carmelo Anthony and a bunch of other
Oh,
old
it's
Knicks that I
hilarious.
don't
It's
recognize
hilarious.
without their uniforms on, but
Yes.
they're all there. They're all watching this thing go down. I would have bet my life that you not only watched Reggie Miller's 8 points during his 8 seconds, but you would have watched the entire YouTube recut, commercials and all, in order to know what happened.
I'm sure I did at some point. I don't know why I overthought it. My first instinct was Starks. I don't know why. I'll tell you what I watched. I watched Reggie Miller push over Greg Anthony on that inbound. Oh, what a steal.
Geez,
you know
here we
why?
go.
He stole it because he pushed him in the back. Go watch the
No, he
replay.
fell.
You know
He
what
flopped.
the NBA did after that? They put out a poll report and said, our bad.
Our
That's
bad.
on us.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
It is going to be fun, dude. I'm into this entire series, even though
It's a great
I don't really
series.
want either team to win. I'll be completely honest with you.
Sure.
I don't want ESPN to have it that the Knicks are good because they've only been waiting my entire lifetime for them to be worth anything.
Yeah.
And now they're actually
It's a
fun and
great
good.
series.
But it's the best we have in
That's
the
it.
conference semifinals.
That's it, because the Cavs Celtics is going to be boring.
Listen, Wolves are walking away with it. Now, Jamal Murray didn't get suspension. You know, we can
You
talk
surprised by
about
that?
I was surprised by that. That was rather interesting. The NBA saying, hey, player safety, player schmafety, we'll throw you a $100,000 fine. We want you playing in these games. T-Wolves are walking away with it. It looks like SGA and the Thunder could potentially walk away with it. It's going to be a cakewalk for the Celtics against the Cavs. I mean, that thing last night.
And
Yeah, it seems pretty open.
yeah, obviously Celtics are better, but I'll tell you this too. Cavs are not been good in the road this playoffs. They really haven't been. And
Well, their
that
coach has
trend
lost
continues.
his first 9 road games in the playoffs.
Yeah, they've been really bad in the road. They escaped that Magic series. I thought they should have put them away in 5 or 6. They had to come back in Game 7 to win it.
Hollow.
Listen, he's tough, no doubt about it. He's gonna have something to say in this league before it's all said and done.
Yeah, just wait till Klay Thompson's on that team next year.
Right, especially the way I said it. He'll have something to say in this league. What does that
He'll have
mean?
something to
Armin?
say in this league. He'll have something to say in this league.
He'll make his mark.
Listen, I think we got something to say about Austin Rivers. Now, Doc Rivers' son wants to go out on the Pat McAfee show and make some comments that need to be responded to, especially at Austin Rivers, who the oh by the way department. You want to talk about somebody that I wouldn't have ever believed would have been an analyst on ESPN. Austin Rivers' career was not one that screamed. Yeah, I would definitely want to hear what that guy's got to say for the rest of time about the NBA. But holy cow, is he saying something about football players and basketball players that we'll respond to next with our two-time Super Bowl champion, John Kuhn, Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. It's 9 to noon on the game.
I move as smooth as Bugsy, or be at the bar with too much bubbly. Yo, I think it must be the girls wanna lust me, or
is 9 to noon on the game as we hang out here, and I broadcast to you from the iHeart Madison Studios. Inside the Madison Studios, really
Was
nice.
that Nick
people.
Brusewitz?
That was Nick Brusewitz, who
I got to see what he looks like.
Behind the glass. Look at him. Look, there he is.
Yeah, creeping
He
around here.
looks
By
like
the way,
a weird kid at the zoo, looking from
had to-
outside.
and the best part is he had to awkwardly come over here and give me the news that Mike Heller had given me about 2.5 minutes ago, which Brewers fans are going to want to know right now, that Christian Yelich is active and back for the Milwaukee Brewers. Tyler Black will be optioned down to AAA. We have some audio that's being sent to the game account, and Armin will be able to play from Christian Yelich coming up here momentarily. But yeah, that was a very awkward interaction with our guy Nick Brusewitz.
2 takeaways. One,
Goodness,
Heller's in the room with you, right?
yeah, he's hanging out,
He's already
being a
told
silent
you-
assassin.
He's already told you this, and Nick thought it was a great idea to walk from outside the zoo
Mhm.
cage into the zoo
Oh,
cage.
during a
Did he
break.
tell you anyways?
No, not during a break, Armin.
Oh,
While
it
I'm
was
about
right-
to go
oh.
back on the air, when the light is on, when you come in,
But he thought that was a good idea to do that, even though Mike Heller's sitting right with you. I think
sitting
if
right
any-
here, handing all the
I
information
think
we
if
need.
Nick knows, Mike's already known for 5 minutes.
I think he
mean,
just I'm gonna defend Nick here. I think he just wanted to play it safe and make sure nobody missed it.
that's number one. With the
Shocker! Armin's gonna go to bat for Brusewitz
I've
here.
been in
Never
that-
say
I've been in that
anything
position.
disparaging bad about any human being. Good work, Armin.
I've been in that position where
Armin,
you just
we're
want to make
talking-
sure they see it and you want to help the show.
We're not talking about making sure Armin, yours is somebody will say something and then you'll just repeat it because you didn't hear what they said. This is Nick Brusewitz actually coming in a room where Heller is actually sitting with Billy. Probably told Billy 5 times about this already.
We
And thinks
were just talking about it.
nonetheless,
It's
the second
possible
thing I
you
take
miss
from
it.
this-
It's possible you miss it on Twitter. And
But
Max
I
saw it.
could have.
Wow,
I could have
Mike
gotten
Heller's
it
going
when
to catch strays. Mike Heller's going to catch strays.
No, no. I'm not straying
Do you
Mike
think-
or
Sounded
Billy.
like
think
it.
Nick found this before Heller? You think there's a chance that could happen?
No chance. No, that there's
There's
a
a
snowball's chance in hell.
Mike
that
Heller's
happens,
got
because
his
Mike Heller's
finger on
it.
more pulses than anybody else in this lineup.
I'm fine. So you're probably right. I'm sure Mike has alerts set up like we all do for certain guys. And yeah, no, you're probably
No,
right.
I think
Mike
Mike's
was probably
just
tipped
on it.
off
He's
by
the
the
host of the
beat this
breaking
morning.
news show. Yeah, he's the host of the breaking news show. To be honest with you, John, and this is where the real part of the conversation comes from young Nick Brusewitz. It wasn't that he wanted to give me that information because he waved the phone in front of me from the outside window, gave him the thumbs up, then came into the studio to let me know. It was because during the break, as I was walking in to get, I think, my 8th cup of free coffee here in the Madison Megaplex, I said, "Hey man, thanks for that Little Debbie oatmeal cookie you left me at the studio." No, those are those are mine. That wasn't for you. It was really nice of it, man. He just let me a Rice Krispie treat, a nice one of those little oatmeal cookies. This is the Nick Saban special.
You're eating Nick's lunch now?
No, I thought he left them right here by the microphone for me
Oh,
today.
I
It was
see.
really nice of him to do that. So I think he was coming in here to
Yeah.
see John
If they're
if
still
I had
there.
taken liberties with some breakfast here in the studio.
No decaf coffee for you yet, right?
Not a chance. No.
Okay. Well,
Why would you do
good news.
decaf
They're-
coffee?
They're canceling decaf coffee in the U.S., right? You guys heard
They
this
should
story?
be.
You heard the story?
No, why?
Oh wait, this is a real thing.
Well,
This
yeah,
is just something that I've
because-
been trying to do for years. Because who's drinking coffee if it
Because
doesn't have any caffeine?
The process that a lot of these places use for decaf coffee potentially adds carcinogens to the coffee. So they're canceling decaf coffee in the U.S.
Good thing I'm
There's a
not
big
drinking
push for it.
decaf. Oh
Big
boy.
push for it.
Oh.
All right.
No,
Well,
Armin,
just
how did you
pouring
not
water
know that?
in
I
his
figured that
coffee.
was right up in your
I don't drink
wheelhouse.
decaf, so I never researched decaf. To be honest with you,
No, Armin just literally pours water in his coffee.
I like
I've
to
never seen
water.
before.
Sometimes I like to
He
water
likes
it
to
down.
cut it down a little bit.
Yeah, I
He
like
has
to cut it.
There's
Have you
nothing
ever
wrong
seen
with
somebody
cutting
do that, John?
it. I mean, I do it if it comes out too hot. I want to be able to drink it, and I want to drink it fast. I don't like to dilly-dally with my food. I don't like to dilly-dally with beers. I don't like
get
to
that.
dilly-dally with water. I like to
Well,
drink it when I'm thirsty and eat it when I'm hungry. No dilly-dally around. I hate when food comes out and it's too hot to eat, and you got to sit there and wait. I hate that.
well, I don't like
Can't
them.
stand that.
Sometimes I don't want to wait to make a new pot, and then that last little part is that mud molasses on the bottom of the pot. So if I put a little bit of that and then mix it with the water, it becomes a more legit cup of hot coffee.
See, but you're throwing hot hot water into it, right? Like John's
Yeah.
doing it to speed up the
No,
process.
not me. I'm
No,
doing it
Armin's
just-
pouring hot water
Yeah,
into
it's
it.
a chemistry
Yeah.
experiment. Yeah. All right.
Like I'll throw an ice cube in there to be able to speed the conversation up and be able to house that bad
That's
boy. But, like,
different. Yeah.
warm water, never seen it before.
Can we
All right.
throw an RIP out for Tyler Black, by the way, going back down? I mean, wasn't it fun with him being up, having his dad make a couple calls and everything? I mean, we want Christian Yelich up, but we'll see you again, young fella.
He'll be
hopefully.
back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He served a really good purpose, had a good cup of coffee, no pun intended, and he'll be back up soon. All right, let's get to this Yelich audio. Fantastic stuff with Yelich.
Okay. Yeah.
got audio
he's
now.
back.
Look
We
at
got
you
all.
producing.
Oh, Billy sent it to me. Thank you very much, Billy.
You're welcome.
All right, here he is talking about it, and he's going to be DHing today. So here we go.
There we go.
Today.
Yeah, we're excited to have him, and we're excited to be able to hear some Christian Yelich, who, listen, love him as a baseball player. Not the most dynamic into a microphone that there's ever been.
That's
However,
the way I like
you
my
could
athletes. Nice and
you could
boring.
you could feel the intensity in his voice, John, of how ready he is to get
I
back
think
on
he's
the
ready.
field.
He's got to be
He's
ready.
been chomping at the bit to get back out.
Especially after that start he had. I mean, you don't want to go on the
That's the
IL
question,
after that.
though, Armin. That's the question. It was such a hot start. We felt so great about where we
Right.
were at. Now he comes back, and has this timing worked out so that he can come back and pick up right where he left off, or does this end up being a hitch and a giddy up as he goes forward, or was the timing meant so that when he does come back, does he have that confidence he had when he left now that he's back? Potentially
Good
that's
point.
why it lasted a lot longer than 10 days, which was the initial designation.
Yeah, and I think you're onto something there, John. I think there was something to he's rushed this thing back from the back injury a couple of different times in his career, that if you're feeling as confident as he was in the batter's box when he left, just don't push anything to think that you possibly are going to be having any lingering thoughts of your availability, right?
No,
like
I agree,
if you don't
yeah.
believe that you can be 100%, 1000% confident that you're feeling good, then don't push it. Also, though, part of the reason I think they've been able to be patient is because they've still won games without him, right? Like, I mean, 21-14, still leading the division and done it in some unlikely ways, having, 3-game winning streak, 3-game losing streak, win 2, lose 2, win 3, win 3. They've been able to keep themselves where they're at without him, but they desperately need him in that lineup.
I think so.
Even if he's not doing, Armin, exactly what he was doing, which was kind of elite level Yelich stuff for the first 2.5 weeks that he was there.
Oh,
They
he was
just need him
mashing.
back in the lineup at some point.
He was mashing. He had 46,
What's his WAR?
39
Come on
at-bats and 5 homers. He already did register actually like a full WAR point, I think. 0.8 for this year, which was a lot
OPS?
considering he only played. His OPS was crazy. 1166. That's not
Those
going
are
to
your
maintain.
two favorite numbers.
My two favorite
Mhm.
numbers. I don't know if he's going to maintain that. I mean, I don't think any of us are expecting a
You
torrid
don't think he's going to
pace.
be an over 1,100 OPS guy all year long?
I don't know, though. He did it once in
Tell
his
me he's
career.
not going to be the best baseball player of all time?
Yeah, he did it once in his career though for a full year, but obviously we just want him to kind of maintain that kind of timing, get the timing back, and get back to hitting hopefully as soon as possible. So it is easy to forget he only played 11 games right so
Yeah.
far this year. So
On a torrid pace to start, and Yelich will be in the 3-hole. Bryce Terang leading off over at second base. William Contreras, the catcher, hitting second. He'll be playing while his brother Wilson is sitting on the IL with a broken left forearm, thanks to JD Martinez. Yelich, the designated hitter, hits third. Willie Adames, the hero last night, shortstop, cleaning up. Jake Bowers out in left, hitting fifth. Sal Frelick in right, hitting sixth. Gary Sanchez gets a first base day today. How about that number 99 over there in the field? Oliver Dunn over at third in the 8-hole, and Blake Perkins in center in front of my guy, Joe Ross, on the bump for the Crew as they try to go win the series against the Kansas City Royals. We'll round third. We'll head for home and hand it off to the Mike Heller Show, which will be talking at the top of the hour with my guy, Tim Allen, 20 minutes away. No handoff to Heller today. He's starting right at noon with the franchise. When the franchise player says, I need to be on at noon, I get bumped. It happens, John.
Yeah, but also we're about 20 minutes out and we just broke some news. Suck it, Heller. Suck it, Heller.
Take that, Heller. Shut up, Coon. It's 9 to noon on the game.
But I gotta be straight when I say I wanna till the break of dawn.
9 to noon on the game, wrapping things up, round and third, heading for home franchise. Tim Allen going to join Mike Heller at the top of the hour, so we're going to get out of here on time and just give it right over to Mike Heller. Pause. During the break, John, Armin, we're watching this Wilson Contreras hit of his left forearm. So Wilson Contreras, don't call me William Contreras, my younger brother who's much better than me and not as much of a jerk potentially to Pat Murphy, Brewers manager. Pat Murphy, not a big fan of Wilson Contreras. Apparently Wilson Contreras, not a big fan of Pat Murphy. Anywho, JD Martinez hits Wilson Contreras in the left forearm. Oof. Contreras is catching for the Cardinals, and you can see in the slow-mo video his left. John, I don't know radius or ulna. I know the bone dance that Miley Cyrus taught me in Hannah Montana. We're doing the bone dance. We studied the answers. That's the radius or the ulna. Either one of them is now in 2 when he gets cracked like that. The weird thing is the reports are that there was a competitive advantage that the Cardinals believe they were getting if they moved Wilson Contreras closer to the plate to get more low strike calls in the midst there.
Can I take a timeout here?
Oh, Mike Heller's got a timeout here.
Oh, what kind of show you guys running here? You're talking about the bone dance? I mean, it's almost noon. You know the kids are listening. You're talking about doing bone dances?
Kids are in school.
This is on the
now.
Disney Channel, Michael.
Kids are in school. Yeah, listen,
doing the
Billy
bone
only
dance.
watched it because of Miley Cyrus anyway.
You're going back to the bone dance.
Yeah, I'm doing the bone dance.
Okay, well, can I leave the studio at least?
Sure, I can teach you how to do it.
No, you can't.
I can teach you the bone dance.
I don't want to know your bone dance.
Listen, that old man has a dirty mind.
What is he?
Boy, what is going on now?
Just a
All
dirty
right.
mind on that old man.
Yeah, wow. Dirty man over here. Goodness gracious.
Hell's going on?
You know, in that clubhouse, they got to take the so many days without an injury off the board because this is workman's comp all over it. They tell you to scoot up, get as close to the batter as you can. And then correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't even a strike. This turns out to be catcher interference.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
So add insult to injury on this one. He now has radii, not a radius, because he is plural there with that thing broken in half.
That's funny.
Yikes. Yeah, you're right, though.
William weighed in on this and said that JD Martinez, the hitter last night, hit him twice on swings a year ago. So dude's got a wide swing arc to begin with that's a little dangerous for catcher. So no love lost here. Let's just wait and see the next time that JD Martinez, the Brewers don't finish. They don't see the Mets again until the end. Last
weekend of the season.
Because otherwise, a family, that blood runs a little deep.
Well,
take care of a brother.
Of course.
Yeah, and actually, this makes me a little bit happier that the Brewers didn't take my advice for the last 4 off seasons and go sign JD Martinez. Because I've wanted them to. I'm like, wait, this guy's still available? Let's get somebody with 25 homers into the DH role. Instead, he's also cracking bones. Like, if I would have known that, we could have gotten a dude coming in here, crack some skulls. Hey, man, Austin Rivers might have some respect now, John, for baseball players. Apparently, he doesn't have any respect for football players, saying I could bring in 30 guys from the NBA right away. We got to get into that tomorrow because this guy, I want all the reaction to come through because this is what we also did with what turned out to be one of my favorite conversations in sports radio of all time. The all black, all white team that we stumbled upon potentially last season. This rolls into the all NBA playing in the NFL and the all NFL playing in the NBA bloodlines. Because I think the starting 5 from the NFL that we can compile for tomorrow's show, good luck beating them. And good luck beating them with potentially Zion Williamson, right? LeBron back in his heyday. I think we got a pretty nice squad here for the NFL players.
Well, a lot of, not me. I mean, I'm going to take my name out of this hat.
Yeah, sorry, you didn't make the list. Yeah,
but
I apologize.
most football players think they're a hooper too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Puka Nakua's highlights this offseason? Have you been
Cooper
familiarized with Devontae Adams' highlights in off seasons past?
Jamal Williams back in the day.
Hooper, and apparently every hooper thinks they can play ball too.
Yeah, but can they make shots? You know, you can be an athlete, but can you make shots? That's one thing I don't know about an NFL player. I don't know until I see you do it. You got to make shots. This is a game about getting buckets. All right,
Just
this is a game about getting buckets.
Doesn't have a football program does not mean you need to.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just saying you gotta be able to make shots at some point. Okay, so maybe they can.
You know what they also have to do, Armin? They got to make blocks. They got to make contested catches.
True.
With a safety like Javon Bullard bearing down on you to crack some ribs. None like that happened in the NBA. we'll get into that tomorrow. I'm excited for that conversation. That's our Quick Trip takeaway of the day, brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Do not cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. Armin, you might even find
spaghetti, chicken Alfredo, potatoes, salad. He likes to stick to what he knows.
Or what will be my pickup of choice here for lunch on the way home from the Madison complex. Spicy chicken sandwich. It's unbeaten there at Quick Trip. So I'll be enjoying that. For John Kuhn, Armin Sarian, I'm Billy Schmid. We give way to the Mike Heller Show. We broke the news. Take that, Heller. You get the franchise player coming up right here at the top of the hour. And we'll try to be better tomorrow on a Thirsty Thursday. It's 9 to noon on the game.